Such an interesting display of the ways that our friends support us, but in examining it deeper, how do they hold us back as well? And how do we hold ourselves back in those friendships? And can we grow together or do they fall apart?
Hi, Conrad. I'm Kristen Maldonado from Pop Culture Planet. I'm so excited to speak with you. I gotta tell you, I saw you a few years back as Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors, and you were amazing.
Oh, thank
Um,
you. I love that production. Thank you so
yes,
much.
of course. I was in the second row, and I was
Oh,
living my best life. You killed it.
oh, yeah. Oh, thank you.
Now, I'd love to hear about what drew you to How to Die Alone, and if you could tell us a little bit more about your character, Rory.
Number one, Natasha Rothwell. I've been a fan of hers for years. Everything from White Lotus to Insecure, and even in bit parts where she was in Love, Simon, I was like, she always popped in everything that she was doing, and I wanted to work with her immediately. And then I also think the relationship that she's written between Mel and Rory really does feel like a love letter to a lot of, as I'm an out gay man and I've got so many female best friends and important, they're such an important part of my life. Um, but that has come with ups and downs as well, not that I can relate to with Mel and Rory. And that the complexity and fun of that relationship is really what drew me to the part.
I love their friendship because it is so real and so complicated, you know? There are
Yeah.
times when you're both relying on each other, but also times when it's like I gotta live my own life. You can't rely on me for everything.
I know, yeah. It's such an interesting display of the ways that our friends support us, but in examining it deeper, how do they hold us back as well? And how do we hold ourselves back in those friendships? And can we grow together or do they fall apart? Like those questions, I think, are so vital and interesting and relatable.
Your character is also exploring his first real romance this season. What can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think again, speaking about things that are definitely relatable, uh, in the gay community, it has been frustrating to try to date and find a monogamous relationship because it is such you know, hmm, how do I say this in a way for an interview? Monogamy is something that is not always prized in gay male relationships, and so to see Rory explore that and try to go for that, and all the things that that brings up, I think are definitely relatable and funny to watch because I've gone through that in my life.
It's so funny, even just seeing, um, he's kind of like surprised that someone even is wants to follow up and send good morning texts, and it's like, wait, and that's so real, I feel like for everybody of like, wait, this person actually does like me.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think especially as a gay Asian man in this country, and in my experience of dating for over 20 years now, um, it's been tough to get through the kind of prejudice and racism that I've experienced in the dating world. You think being in a gay queer space that people wouldn't have those thoughts, but they still exist.
Something else I thought was really interesting is that your character is adopted, and sort of like balances a little bit of a double life of like there is this privilege that he has, but also that he feels like, he kind of doesn't fit into maybe, or like he has this very strained relationship with his father specifically. So I was wondering if you
Yeah.
could speak to that and how that kind of like influences Rory's journey.
Yeah, I think his dad is the executive of JFK Airport and a really successful, powerful businessman. And Rory is an artist with an artist's soul. And I think that those two things always collide. I grew up with a family that were not artists or actors. And when I started to pursue the performing arts, it was a very like rough time where my dad was constantly like, "Oh, do you think you should use your psych degree, go back to school, like, aka do something else. And I love that Natasha has written that into Rory's storyline, because it creates a lot of fiction. It creates a lot of acting out sometimes, when your family doesn't accept you because you're pushing to be seen for who you are instead of for who they want you to be.
Hmm.
And that can last, like with Rory, it can last into your 30s and stunt your growth a lot of times. And I think it's definitely stunted Rory's growth, because he his family hasn't accepted him for who he is, which is, a documentary filmmaker.
That is interesting. It just made me think about, again, going back to his relationship with Mel, of just like maybe there's certain people that, you know, you feel like you trust them more, so then you can push their buttons more, or like, really say how you truly feel, and, hope that they're gonna, embrace that. Whereas
Yeah.
like, you can't do that with his family so much.
Yeah, well, and I feel like they have, I think for years, uh y- taken refuge in each other, but also used each other to let off steam about everything else in their life. Instead of pursuing solutions, they kind of commiserate, and the saying "misery loves company" is very true. And I think that's true for Rory and Mel, in their friendship. So I'm very excited to see how that unfolds.
There's so many funny moments and serious moments throughout this season. I was wondering if you had a favorite scene to film.
Oh gosh, yes. The scene with the where the golf cart, first episode, yeah, where we go on this chase, around the airport, and we did this. I have the smooth. I mean, I don't know how much I can say, but like, uh, the smoothies that end up all over me. I really loved doing that. We did it in one take, so that I didn't have to get drenched by sticky uh, smoothies all day long.
That was a hilarious scene with like the apples rolling away. You're like, oh God,
Yeah,
what's going on in this airport?
yeah, yeah. No, I'll never go to an airport in the same way. I'm always gonna be like, I wonder what they're really doing behind the scenes.
When you think about it, Mel is now going on this sort of like journey of self-discovery to like better herself, but she wouldn't really have been able to do that if Rory hadn't let her down. I just feel like that's like such a huge catalyst for basically the whole season. So I mean, it's all you.
I mean, I think that happens in our lives all the time with friends, where we rely on each other, maybe to an unhealthy point, that it's holding us back. And it takes something like a huge, life event, something that is traumatic sometimes, to wake us all up and be like, hey, we either need to be there better for each other, or we need to set up our own lives and take accountability for ourselves, in a way that sets us up for success. And I think that happens in the first episode. That wake up call is loud and clear in this show.
Have you ever had a moment for yourself that was like a wake-up call? I mean, maybe not to the extent of Mel's near-death experience where it's like I gotta make a change, but has that ever been something that like happened to you that you kind of projected you into doing something different?
Oh yeah, like, I mean, I think I've dated for, I mean, I got married this last year actually to somebody that I
Congratulations.
met. Thank you. I met during while we were shooting, How to Die Alone, in Toronto. But I've been dating for so long, and dating where you just constantly make excuses for the person that you're dating. They don't show up. They constantly lie, but you're just like, okay, I'm gonna give you another chance, and then being like, what am I doing? I like why am I accepting this for myself? And saying no to that then opens you up to better things and healthier things for yourself.
Congrats on everything. You're killing it. I love all your work. I'm hoping maybe we'll get a musical episode down the line in the show.
Oh yeah, we all Natasha and I sing, so fingers crossed.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time. Consider subscribing if you like this video and get even more entertainment news at popcultureplanet.net. See ya!